I just got a new air compressor. So I'm going to add the supplemental air compressor for that guy. So that there I think is a 20-gallon tank, and this here is a 20-gallon tank. So I wanted a little more capacity, plus actually having two separate, actually I'm going to combine the tanks. So having two motors running at the same time, I should get twice the CFM out of it. So that's kind of, if I'm doing I'm planning on using power or air tools a lot more, especially on that Camaro project, you know, for buffing and having a DA sander, and you know, I think I'm gonna need more CFM to run that thing continuously. So instead of getting spending a decent amount of money on a bigger compressor, I figure I'll just add a smaller compressor to this. I mean, hell, this thing was I think it was 175 bucks, something like that. I don't even remember what the hell I paid for it. It was only, I think I bought it last Saturday or Sunday, which it's Sunday now. And we'll go ahead and, I guess it's got, here are the specs on it. Like I said, it's just a Chinese-made cheapie. So, oh, oil-free. Huh, that's weird. My other one has oil in it. I run Royal Purple synthetic in it. Let's see some of the specs on this thing. Voltage 115, amp 11.9, 60 Hz phase 1. Total gallons 20. CFM at 90 psi is 5.5. And tank is rated at 125 psi. I don't know if you can. Let's go focus, baby. There we go. Nope. So that's what this one is. So you can kind of see, basically add that. To this. And you should be, you know, so I should have about, what did that one say, 6 CFM at 90, or 5.5 at 90, and this is 5 at 90. So I should have, 10.5 square SCFM. Oh, let's call it. Let's just call it CFM. I don't know what the S stood for square, but that square cubic feet per minute. I don't know. Anyway, so I'm planning on plumbing this together. I might as well have a video showing you how to do that. How to add two air tanks together. Make basically one giant tank plus both of my compressors themselves. Should double the size of your system. So I'm going to start by unboxing this bad boy. I got a couple of new fittings and stuff. Get rid of this guy. Actually, we'll use it here. Now, make sure when you get air fittings, make sure you get the same style. I like to use M, but there's A, there's B, there's, hell, I think there's AB. There's all kinds of goofy styles with weird looking tips on the end of them and stuff. And make sure you get the same style that you've already got. If you already have a system, make sure you have the correct coupler. You know, get something that matches your couplers, your existing couplers. Let's set this. Let's go right here for right now. Oh, there are two wheels in this pack. One inside a styrofoam, the other in a bottom case. handle. All right. Styrofoam was taped together. They want to come out separately. Here's a wheel. Here's a compressor. This is so easy to do without a tripod or anything. We're just going to call that good enough. I'm going to destroy this box. All right, wheel, other wheel, a few bolts, and here's a couple of outlet deals here. Blow-off valve, that's important. There's already air in there. How about that? So, I'm going to slap these wheels on real quick. I'm sure it's not terribly complicated. I don't think I need the instructions for it, but we'll go ahead and put those in. Put the wheels on, and I'll be right back. All right, wheels on, nuts tight. There's a shoulder bolt there, so yeah, nuts tight. There's a shoulder bolt, so it can only go on so tight. Wheels got to be able to flop a little bit, looks like. All right, loosen these nuts, or these bolts. Stick this guy down here, and pinch them in place. Just a little, where's that, a 10 millimeter? Yep, 10. How close are we? We're right there at the bottom of the pipe. Switch hands. I love how things go so smoothly when you're actually trying to turn around. Okay. All right. There she is, tight. All right. Basically, what our plan is, we're going to take one of these couplers off, a screw, thread in one of these. Actually, I could just connect them with a hose, to be completely honest. But on this one, see, I only have one outlet. So I need to probably go into this pop-off valve, or I could run a T-fitting, which I got. Where'd it go? There it is. Could run a T-fitting. They have a few different couplers coming out of it. This is just 1/4-inch pipe thread. That's also what I got this DFE paste for. Thread sealant. I just happened to run out, so got a new tub of it. You can use Teflon tape also. I like using that stuff. You know, I've got some tape sitting up here, but I like using that paste. I use it a lot at work. It seems to work pretty well. So I think I'm going to take that coupler out, thread one of these guys in there, if possible. Nope, maybe not. We'll figure something out. I might need a nipple, so might just end up going this route. with taking that blow off valve out of the picture, because I've already got one on this other tank. That way if something does happen to go crazy and one of these guys doesn't shut off, we can, you know, we'll still have one blow off valve, and surely both of them aren't still going to be pumping. If so, she'll go ahead and pump until she's, you know, it'll keep on pumping, I guess, until this thing bleeds off all the pressure, which it should be enough to bleed off the pressure more than what they can pump. But that's my plan. I think I'm probably going to go out of one of these, out of this guy, into the blow off valve over here, which actually, oh, I don't think I've ever shown this off before. My actual setup over here. I've got a pretty crappy electrical grid out here in this particular shed, but I've got this here. I've got an air filter, a filter to get rid of dust and water. Then I've got an oiler. So I got a filter and an oiler. So, which are, you know, I've got, you know, you can unhook everything. You can unhook each one of these if you wanted. But I like having a filter in my system, make sure I don't get any water or any debris into my actual system, my air lines or my air tools. And here's an oiler. You can set it up to drip. Let's shoot, the thing might be about empty. No, I still got some oil on the bottom there. You just run regular air tool oil. And so I've always got oil. I've always got a clean, dry supply of air. And I've got oil to it all the time. So I never have to worry about my tools rusting up and stuff, because I have oiled air with no water in it. So I don't have to worry about my tools seizing up, which you should always you know, oil your tools and all that good stuff. But I know how, I live in the real world, so I know how that doesn't exactly happen. You know, it says oil daily. Look at this guy. Just got this. Oil daily. Let's see if we can actually zoom in on the damn thing. Come on, baby. There we go. Oil daily. So, all of your tools should say that. Dang it, am I zooming in? Yeah. Oil daily. So, about to drop the camera there. So, yeah, I live in the real world, and that's not the first thing you want to do right as soon as you get into the shop and start working. No, so I've had an air ratchet lock up on me before. I've had an impact lock up on me before from just, you know, coming out, running it, and then letting it, you know, having there be moisture in the system or whatever, and, you know, me not really caring, me just leaving it sit for, you know, out of the toolbox and everything for a week or two or a month or a year, and then all of a sudden I come back to it and it seized shut. You know, it's completely seized and rusted up on me. So it's been several years ago. I went ahead and installed that filter and oiler, and I haven't had a problem since. So I definitely recommend that. I don't remember what I paid for them. It was probably 20 or 30 bucks a piece, I would guess. I'm really not 100% sure, but I recommend setting them up in line, like I've got mine. So you can have just the filter, or you can have just the oiler, but I recommend running them both together. You can even see what I'm talking about. Yeah, I recommend running them both together in that order, because, well, hell, if you ran the oiler before you ran the filter, it just filter out your oil. So that's no good at all. One thing to note, if you are going to be painting, you cannot run that hose, because the inside is completely coated with oil. So you do not want to use that hose at all. You have to get a separate hose, a new hose, to use if you're going to be doing any painting. So I just wanted to throw it out there. Yeah, do not try to use a spray gun, a paint gun with that at all, because that's, yeah, not good to have splatters of oil in your paint job. So I think that's it for right now. I'm going to go ahead and, I think I'll probably just run a coupler to this here and run an old hose, an old airline going up to from this point here over to the other tank, and it should be able to flow freely both directions. So I'm not really worried about that. I do have a separate airline going to my sandblasting cabinet. This is a separate airline. It's never had oil to it, so I've got this kind of running along my wall over there in my sandblasting cabinet. And whenever I hook that up, I do not run my oiler or my filter to it. So I just leave that. I don't run my oiler to my sandblast cabinet because it's the same deal. I don't want oil gumming up in the sand and all that stuff. So, like I said, you cannot reuse this hose for anything but I'd say air tools. Don't use it with anything you're going to be spraying air onto or through. I mean, you could use it for a blowgun or something, but I wouldn't use it when you're trying to blow, like if you're trying to blow dust off of a paint job, a fresh paint job, like say on my Camaro. I'm not going to use a blowgun through that hose. I don't want little tiny fragments of oil through there. So, yeah, just remember to try to keep your tools separate, or your airlines, air hoses separate. Always make sure you know which hoses have had oil run through them. And with that being said, I think I pounded that point hard enough. We'll go ahead and probably just hook an air hose directly to this, and then we'll run one to that blow-off valve, that extra valve in the tank, extra port in that tank, and I will be right back. All right, I've got this blow-off valve removed. I went ahead and just grabbed a whole nother hose. I was planning on making a short hose go between them, but we'll just go with short hose, or we can go with a 60-foot hose. I don't care. It doesn't really matter too much to me. I'm going to put a male end on this, just partly because I don't have a quarter-inch. Sorry, I don't have a quarter-inch pipe thread nipple on me. I don't feel like running to town right now, so we will thread this guy in. Instead of grabbing an actual wrench, we'll just use this guy. And my air compressor is, while I'm tightening this, I can maybe talk. Maybe I can tighten this and talk. I wanted to show you a little bit about, dang it, I often hit the zoom in button. I want to show you my awesome air filter that I set up for this. And you've all seen the standard air filter designs with 1, 2, maybe three small holes to filter the oil, the air through, and then it's inside of that there's a paper air filter element. I don't really necessarily like that style, so I got a valve cover breather. I got a nipple for that, a pipe thread nipple for that. Used a couple hose clamps and a short piece of hose, and a short piece of rubber hose. So now I have a valve cover breather for an air filter. So it should be able to flow a hell of a lot better than a regular air, small paper air filter, which I'd like to show you. Maybe I've got one. It's nowhere on the shelf somewhere. I don't know. You know what? Maybe I do. Let's see here. Yeah, here's the stuff that came with that old Iron Horse brand, they call it. Come on, dude. Gotta love filming this stuff live. Alright, and I'm back. Dropped my phone. Okay, so this is the air filter that came on it. So I got 1, 2, I got three holes on this guy. 1, 2, 3. So that's, and then there's a small air filter element inside of there. You can see it's kind of hard to take it apart. But this top part just twists off. So that is the factory air filter for one of these things. And those small, what do they call it, a 1/4-inch hole? I don't think that's gonna flow very much compared to this 360-degree air filter. So I think, I don't, maybe it does, maybe the thing doesn't even really suck that much, but I don't want any restriction at all in the airflow system, so we'll call mine a little more badass than your standard air filter, or your standard air compressor. So I've also done a little modification to I had a hose blow on me, and this thing does leak a small amount. Well, shit, you can see this. You can see that fitting right there, but anyway, well, it's rated for 500 psi. Dang. I could probably stand to tighten this clamp up a little bit. Maybe that's where some of my air leak is coming from. But then again, maybe it's coming from down there too. It leaks a little bit, and once you get it warm, it seems like it takes forever to build air back up. So that's one reason why I didn't think having this compressor was going to be enough. So I figured I got another one to supplement it. I think we'll be good to go with the pair of them acting together. And maybe I can do a little maintenance on this. I've tried to find correct fittings for this, and it has just been an absolute bear. I've been fighting it and fighting it and fighting it. And hell, actually, look down here. You can see down here. I mean, you can see it's just an absolute mess. I would have just put fitting straight onto here, straight coming out of the tank itself, with a nipple on it, and I can put this hose onto it. But then I gotta have something coming out here for the pressure, the pressure regulator, and so it'll still automatically shut off when it gets the temperature, or when it gets the pressure. And this Chinese made stuff is kind of a pain in the butt trying to find the correct fittings for, because the threads that I've been looking for, they don't match up. It's just been a nightmare. So I got it running good enough with this rubber hose, and it'll go up. You can hear it leaking every time it runs, but it does run. Hey, check it out. I got some. What color oil is that? Can you see it very well? I wonder if you can tell if that's purple oil. From where I'm standing, I can tell. It's not. Anyway, I can tell it's purple oil, so I run royal purple in it. And anyway, I'm going to go ahead and put this thing together, and I guess I'll be back in a minute. All right, another quick tip. I was tightening this up, and thought I might as well just throw another one on there. But I was going to recommend buying these by the box, instead of like, I'm holding my phone funny. Instead of buying them by the individual or by a small pack, just get a whole box at a time. I know you're not going to have the flashy. Sorry, you can see up my nose now, maybe. I don't know. Instead of buying the flashy 2-pack or 3-pack with a cardboard, with the plastic on it and the cardboard around the outside, and a few different extra colors and stuff, it's actually cheaper. I think that box is like $2 or $3. So I think either 10 or a dozen come in each box. So I don't. There's not a reason to actually get them individually like that. And plus, now anytime you need one, I've got a box. And you can see they're stainless. They've been sitting out. I mean, you can tell from the box earlier. They've been sitting out here for a while. I bought those, I'd bet probably 10 years ago. So they still look pretty good to me. What do you think? All right, now, boys and girls, I have a hose. I have a male coupler coming out where the blow-off valve used to be. I've got a female quick connect. I've got just a regular hose, regular old air hose coupled in here to one of the outlets on this. So I've got this outlet and this outlet that I can work off of, even though they are connected with a 1/4 inch or a 3/8 inch airline using 1/4 inch fittings. I've got both of them turned on, and now just don't look at this extension cord. Sorry, electrical outlets are very limited out here. So I'm going to plug this in, and it's going to get loud, but I'll just let this thing run for a while. Let's see how long it takes for them to fill up. Not overly loud. You probably can't hear a word I'm saying, but yeah, it's still, it could be worse. So I'm just going to let those build up. Looked like one of them was slightly, my older one was slightly higher pressure, which is actually kind of odd. But the gauges are probably just a little stiffer, or maybe it's a little looser by now. So yeah, because the gauges, they were showing higher pressure. The springs have gotten a little bit weak in that in the thing. Anyway, so they're both airing it up right now, and they should, one of them's going to stop at about 130 psi, the other one's going to stop at 125. So my old one should stop at 125. And I'm not really worried about the compressor itself shutting off at that pressure. I'm not worried about the tank blowing off, over 5 psi over the max pressure that it's used to running at. I'm sure the tank itself is rated higher than that. The blow-off valve that I pulled off was rated at 140 psi, and it flows 55 CFM. So I think one blow-off valve would be more than enough for the two of them. The one on my new compressor is actually rated at 47 CFM. So that's way more than what these two compressors can pump out. So I'm not really concerned about that at all. Yeah, between the two of them, they pump out 10.5 psi, or not psi, but CFM at 90 psi. So I'm sure I'll be fine. They can do a quarter, less than a quarter of what that blow-off valve is set for. So I'm really not too concerned about it. Let's go in here and check the pressure again. Again, we're showing about 100 on my old one, my old compressor, and call it 97 on my new compressor. So I doubt my new one flows. My new compressor, I doubt my old compressor can flow that much more than the new one. That there's actually a pressure differential between the hose. I bet it's just the gauges are just set up. Those are old gauges. I bet I've had that compressor for quite a while. I'm going to guess somewhere around 10 years. Somewhere around there. So we'll go with, we'll call it good with that. And I think it should give me some pretty decent CFM now, where it won't kick on near as quickly if I'm running my impact. I'll be able to run a DA for a lot longer, which I haven't even bought a DA yet to do this job. I've got one at work, but I could probably just borrow that one, to be completely honest. Okay, one of them shut off. My old one shut off, looks like. the old one shut off at about 125 psi, which I think is, I mean, that's right what the gauge is showing. So it's, I'm looking at a sticker on the side of it, it says 100 psi right now. The other one's rated for 130. It just started making a different tone, so it's probably getting awful close to the limit. But now it has to do the work on both of them. So or it has to fill twice the amount of area that it's used to. So yeah, we'll just let it keep on going, and we'll see. You know, it shouldn't be too much longer now to go up that extra 5 psi or so. Of course, its actual gauge was showing about 120 instead of 125, so it's showing about 5 psi different. And we'll go ahead and check on it again one more time real quick. Hey, just shut off, right, just as soon as I walked out here. So now I've got 40 gallons of air at 130 psi. I'm right there in the red on this one. Yeah, I'm a little bit below the red on this one. So now I might just go ahead and see about using a blowgun. Let's go. Let's hook things up to this guy. Dang it. Hook the oiler up. All right, just pressurize the tank here. Now we'll blow it off. We use a blow off. We'll just see what pressure these guys turn back on at. What's that? I'm just checking to see what the pressure. I got those two tanks hooked up together. Looking to see what pressure they turn back on at. So that concludes my setup. Turns out I didn't need basically any of this stuff. All I needed was one male quick connect fitting to replace this with, to replace my blow-off valve with. So I was planning on running a different hose and all that, and turns out I didn't really need any of it. I think I'll end up having enough outlets. I have one outlet on one tank, and I have one more outlet on this other tank. You can see this is my filter and my oiler. So that'll give me 2 outlets. I was planning on using this cross with this T that I'm not even going to end up using. So yeah, you can get by with just one fitting, probably an air fitting that you already have, and just using a full-length air hose. I was planning on using a shorter hose, like maybe a 4-foot hose. I was planning on making one, and it turns out you're not going to need any of that stuff to hook up a couple of air tanks together to double the capacity of your air compressor system. So hopefully you guys learned something there. You know, that if you don't have access to 220, or you don't have $500 or $600 or more, $500 or $600 for an absolute dirt cheap compressor. You can plumb two of them together and double your capacity. So hopefully, like I said, hopefully you learned something. And I'm going to shut the lights off here.